Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Michelle, and today I'm going to be reviewing Very Rich by Polly Harvad. Before I get into this video, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, and the like button, and let's start talking about this book, Very Rich. So the main protagonist of this book is Rupert Brown, and Rupert Brown comes from a very big family, but unfortunately they don't have much money. His mother is working, really hard so that she can support this family because his father, unfortunately, doesn't have a job right now, and he's kind of not really looking for one. He's not trying at all to find one so that he can help support the family. And so Rupert's mother is often very stressed, she's often very grumpy, because she's always forced to have to take care of these children while working a job, and trying to support this family and keep it running and keep it together. And as you can imagine, since it's a very big family, things can get chaotic sometimes. And Rupert has many siblings, and all of these siblings are always running around making a mess of things. So as you can imagine, the house is never really clean, and this just frustrates Rupert's mother even more. And so Rupert has never really been close to any of his parents because of this, because he has so many siblings and nobody ever really knows what's going on. And so every morning, Rupert and his siblings get fed one spoonful of oatmeal, and they aren't really fed much. They're forced to run the day on this one spoonful of oatmeal, and then they have supper, and they go to bed, and they repeat the day. And there are 3 bedrooms in this house. One of the bedrooms is for the boys, another one of the bedrooms is for the girls, and the third and final bedroom is for the parents. So as you can imagine, the rooms are probably also really messy, and it's probably really hard for them to fall asleep since they're all huddled up in a room together, all cramped in there. And so this is Rupert's life. And one day he's walking to school and it's actually Christmas, and it's completely slipped his mind that it's Christmas. He's completely forgotten because every single day for him seems to be the same. The same spoonful of oatmeal, head off to school, come back, eat supper, and go to bed. And Rupert, I forgot to mention this, but Rupert has one sibling. Out of all of his many siblings, there's this one girl, and he's really thankful that she's a lot like him. They're both very quiet, they're both grateful for what they get, and they never really complain much, so they bond together. They have a lot more in common. So Rupert is lucky to have this one sibling who he can actually relate to, and so he doesn't really feel like an outsider. But back to what I was saying, he's walking to school, completely forgot it's Christmas, and he's feeling really lightheaded because this morning he never got that spoonful of oatmeal, and so it's snowing really hard, and all he has on is a pair of pants and a he's wearing a sweater that has holes in it, and it's not thick at all. And so he's really unable to stay warm from, all of this snow that's coming down, and he's not feeling well either, and he's wondering if he should turn back and head home because he's feeling so unwell. So he decides to, he doesn't see anybody nearby anyways, and he's also scared that he's gonna faint and nobody's ever gonna find him. So he starts heading back home when all of a sudden his sweater gets caught onto a gate. And Rupert is frantically trying to loosen his sweater from the gate, but it's not happening. And there's somebody opening the gate, and they notice Rupert, and they're like, "What is going on here?" And they just think that Rupert is some sort of just some little boy who's trying to break in or something like that. And the gate has a system where it can electrify anything that's on it. So they electrify Rupert a few times until he falls off the gate. But he ends up falling on the other side, like inside of the gate boundaries. And there's this boy, his name is Turgid Rivers, and he runs out. He lives in this house, and he's like, "What's going on? Like, what is this random boy doing in my front yard?" And so he drags Rupert into his room, and he's like, what are you doing here? What happened? And Rupert explains. He says, well, my sweater got caught onto the gate and somebody from your family sort of electrified me and I fell off the gate and, well, here I am. And so Turgid, seeing his condition, he decides to let Rupert stay for the dinner, the family dinner. You know, it's Christmas, he's feeling generous, and also after seeing Rupert's condition, he decides that it's probably best for Rupert to stay tonight. And so Rupert joins the Rivers for dinner, and the Rivers are Turgid's family. So the Rivers are very wealthy, and as you can see, there's kind of a contrast between Turgid and Rupert. They both have a similar background when we're talking about family, because they both come from huge families, living in one house. Except the difference is that Turgid is rich and Rupert is poor. And so Rupert feels really out of place during this dinner because he doesn't know what to say. He's surrounded by all these wealthy people, and it's also really chaotic, just as it is at his home. And so he's really just used to staying quiet, and that's exactly what he does. And it turns out he has a hidden talent. He's really great at playing games, winning these games that they end up playing after dinner. They play multiple games, these huge games, and Rupert wins a bunch of prizes. And unfortunately, there's a little twist at the end that nobody really mentioned to him. After he won all of these prizes, he was so happy and everything, and then all of it was gone because of this little twist that the game had, where he had to answer one question. He had 10 seconds to answer it, and if he got it wrong, then he lost everything that he had won in this game. And so, unfortunately, he wasn't able to answer the question. Well, I mean, he was, but the 10 seconds was already over. So, poor Rupert, he lost everything that he had won from that game. But even then, he had a fun night with the Rivers. And this book kind of reminds me of, I don't know if anybody here has read it, but it's called Mr. Lemoncello's Library. And they very rich and Mr. Lemoncello's Library kind of remind me of each other, because in Mr. Lemoncello's Library there's this very fun person in the book, you know, somebody who's very energetic, who's a jokester, and also it's a very fun plot, fun story and everything, and they both take place in a really interesting setting. So in this book, in Very Rich, the fun character, or the jokester, the very energetic person, would be Turgid's uncle and aunt. But it's mostly Turgid's uncle. And Turgid's uncle takes an interest in Rupert, because Rupert seemed to be so good at these games. And so he, one day, he invents something. He invents a time machine. And he decides, why not have Rupert come along with me to test this machine? And this is obviously not such a great idea because it's never been tested before and anything could happen. So unfortunately, as I just said, it didn't really go all that well. They ended up way in the past and they don't know how to get back to the present. And so that's what this book is about. It's a very fun book. Definitely recommend it to you all. And if you guys want to check out this book, then make sure you check out the description box below, where I will have linked links for Amazon, Google Books, Barnes & Nobles. If you click on the link for Google Books on the bottom right corner of your screen, it will show the libraries near you where this book is available at. And so that is all I have to say for this book. And as you guys know, in every single one of my book reviews, I have a part where I show you guys what the next book I'm going to be reviewing looks like. And it's called Wonderville, and this is what the cover looks like. If you guys are excited for this book, then make sure you check out my page. I post every Sunday, and I will see you guys next Sunday with a new video. Bye guys!